A hearty welcome to Shri K. Devanand Pai, Correspondent, Besant Women's College and Secretary, Women's National Education Society. Welcome to you, sir. A cordial welcome to Shri Ganesh Krishna Bhatt, Correspondent, Besant PU College. I wholeheartedly welcome our principal, Dr. Satish Kumar Shetty, who is our constant inspiration and guide in all our endeavors. A cordial welcome to IQAC Coordinator, Mr. Said Kader, and NAC Coordinator, Dr. Praveen Kumar Kesi. A warm welcome to my dear friends, Ms. Rupa, Head of the Department, Sociology and Coordinator of this webinar. I must say that I have benefited from her tireless work ethic, generosity, and expertise. I also welcome my team members, Dr. Asha Rai and Professor Sangeeta Naik to this webinar.
Introduce measures to restrict movement as part of the efforts to reduce the number of people infected with COVID-19. More and more of us are making huge changes to our daily routines. The new realities of working from home, the temporary unemployment, homeschooling of children, and lack of physical contact with family members, friends, colleagues take time to get used to adapting to lifestyle changes such as these and managing the fear of contacting with the virus and worry about people close to us who are particularly vulnerable are challenging for all of us. They can be particularly difficult for people with mental health conditions. Fortunately, there are lots of things that we can do to look after our mental health and to help others who may need some extra support and care. Here are some tips and advice that we hope you will find helpful. Keep informed, that is, listen to advice and recommendations from your national and local authorities. Follow trusted news channels such as local and national TV, radio, and keep up to date with the latest news from World Health Organization on social media. Have a routine. Keep up with the daily routines as far as possible or make new ones. Get up and go to the bed at similar times every day. Keep up with the personal hygiene. Eat healthy meals regularly. Exercise regularly. Allocate time for working and resting. Make time for doing things you enjoy. Minimize news feeds. Minimize news feeds. Try to reduce how much you watch, read, and listen to news that makes you feel anxious or distressed. Seek the latest information at specific times of the day. Social contact is important if your movements are restricted. Keep in regular contacts with people close to you by telephone and online channels. Alcohol and drug use. Limit the amount of alcohol you drink or do not drink alcohol at all. Do not start drinking alcohol if you have not drunk before. Avoid using alcohol and drugs as a way of dealing with fear, anxiety, boredom, and social isolation. Before I conclude, and Mrs. Rupa Lokesh for providing this opportunity to learn and practice to combat uncertainty during pandemic outbreak. I wish the webinar all the best. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request our principal, Dr. Satish Kumar Shetty, to deliver the inaugural address.
A very good morning to all of you. Am I audible then? Good morning. Respected resource person of today's webinar, Dr. Ramila Shekhar, former professor from School of Social Work, Roshni Nilaya, respected correspondent of our college and secretary of Women's National Education Society, Sir K. Devanand Pai, the correspondent of PU College, Sir Beltangadi Ganesh Krishna Bhatt, the IQAC NAC coordinators and the conveners of this webinar, and also my dear participants, a very good morning to all of you. We have chosen this topic because the resource person is a professional counselor and probably she has got all the qualities to say address on this particular issue of psychosocial intervention to combat uncertainty during the pandemic outbreak. As you all know that the coronavirus has threatened the world with a public health crisis. It took hardly a month for more than 1 million to be affected and nearly 80,000 fatalities after being declared as a pandemic by the World Health Organization, WHO. International borders have been locked down, travel restricted, economics slashed, and billions are isolated at their own homes as a measure to contain outbreak. Pandemics can extend beyond just the purview of medicine. The psychological and economic consequences of biological disasters have shown to outlast the infection itself. As the therapeutic focus is mainly restricted to biological therapies worldwide to develop an effective cure for the virus, the deep-rooted psychosocial repressions are often neglected. The worldwide lockdown, uncertainty of the infection, prevalent misinformation on the media, and the lack of a definitive cure are driving mass hysteria, anxiety, fear, and stigmatization. Research on pandemic protocols in the past have shown the role of psychosocial preparedness in improving resilience during a biological disaster like such large-scale infections. Though there are well-known international guidelines for disaster management in general, specific ones guided to pandemic preparedness are lacking, though some countries have formulated their own policies. And against this background, we thought of having a webinar on this topic. I'm very pleased to welcome Madam Dr. Ramila Shekhar to this august audience to address our teacher friends and also the participants of this webinar. I, on behalf of the management, on behalf of the correspondent staff, on behalf of the participants, extend a very warm and cordial welcome to you, Madam. Respected correspondent, always is with us, and today also is with us. His gracious presence has made us to feel proud, and we cordially welcome you, sir, to this webinar. A very warm and welcome to the management member and the correspondent of PU College, Besant PU College, Sir Beltangadi Ganesh Krishna Bhatt, to this function. Welcome to you, sir. I congratulate the webinars of this function, Mrs. Rupa Lokesh, Head of the Department of Sociology, and Madam Savitri Rao, the convener of Women's Cell. A very warm and cordial welcome to you, Madam. And this is our 15th webinar with 19 quiz programs. And there are one webinar program is pending. One art competition is going to be launched, and one program from the FND is also going to be launched from 1st of September. And also we are planning for a 7-day FTP program on research and development. So this speaks about the hard efforts put in by our colleagues. Acknowledging their hard work, I wholeheartedly welcome all of them to this webinar. A very warm and cordial welcome to the IQAC coordinator, Ms. Syed Kadir, NAC coordinator, Dr. Praveen Kumar Kesi, for the initiative in organizing this webinar. Special thanks to the technical staff, Mr. Ritesh and Mr. Ravindra Murthy. Last but not the least, I extend a very warm and cordial welcome to all the participants for attending this webinar. Thank you. Have a fruitful session ahead. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, sir. As we all are aware that the coronavirus pandemic outbreak has disrupted the normal life across the world, with nearly 178 countries reporting school closures, it's a huge challenge to the education system. Every aspect of our life has changed. We are sacrificing comfort and convenience for the greater good. There is uncertainty about the future. All these issues and more will be addressed in this national level webinar. Today, we have a very distinguished personality as our resource person for this webinar. She is none other than Dr. Ramila Shekhar, who is a luminary in the domain of mental health issues. She doesn't need an introduction, but it's my duty and I feel honored to do so. After completing her early education in Mangalore, she went on to pursue her studies at NIMANS, Bangalore. She has served as a professor, HOD, Dean of PG Department, Roshni Nilaya for 34 years. Currently, she is practicing as a child, adolescent, and youth mental health professional at the Manas Shanti Counseling, Training and Research Center, Mangalore. Her contributions to the society and in the field of research are innumerable. Madam has conducted more than 1,000 programs for students, parents, and teachers and members of various government and corporate sectors on family life, family relationship, child mental health, healthy personality, stress management, mental health first aid, prevention of sexual harassment in different parts of Karnataka and South India. She has presented a number of research papers in various local, state, national, and international conferences. She has contributed many articles and research papers in various journals, souvenirs, and was involved with research with University of Cornwall, USA, and Flinders University, Australia. She was the co-investigator for a study titled Living with Chronic Illness with University of Melbourne, Australia, York University, UK, and Rajagiri College in Kerala. Recently, she has completed another research on internet addiction with Flinders University, Australia. Research-based article titled Efficacy of Strength-Based Practice in Engaging with Children with Behavior Problem. A case study from India is published in a book, Primrose Hall Publishing Group, and released at the International Conference in Melbourne in the year 2016. She is the author of books on child mental health and women and mental health, a manual for teachers and parents. Madam was conferred the Best Educationist Award by the Global Society for Health and Educational Growth in New Delhi in the year 2016. She is appointed as the editor for the National Journal of Professional Social Work in 2018. She has also been invited to give lectures to students of Volda University, Norway, and University of Leuven, Belgium. Madam is a member of many local, national, and international organizations. She was appointed second time as the Juvenile Justice Board member for Dakshina Kannada. She was also appointed for 2 consecutive terms as a member of Mental Health Authority for Karnataka. She was the member of Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Office of Mangalore City Commissionerate and Dakshina Kannada Police. At present, she is the member of Prevention of Sexual Harassment Committee of KMC Hospital, Mangalore, the Karnataka Bank Head Office, Mangalore, and Titharfi Software Company. Madam is also appointed as a member of ad hoc body of Sensitization, Prevention and Redressal of Sexual Harassment Committee, Mangalore University, and a member of the Internal Complaints Committee to NITK, and also the Department of Post Mangalore division. She is also empaneled as psychological counselor to NITK Surathkal since 2018. She completed training programs for schools teachers through the DMHP and for college teachers through the UGC. She has been giving radio and TV programs on issues related to women, child health, and mental health on MTV in the Middle East. She has conducted self-help programs to service organizations and IT sectors on psychosocial support during the pandemic, teletherapy, managing stress during the pandemic. Special areas of interest are working with children, adolescents, women, and family-related areas, and conducting preventive and promotive programs for them to strive towards a better and progressive society. With this brief introduction, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you, Madam. It's now time to begin the webinar. Dear participants, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box, which will be addressed by the resource person at the end of the session. A recorded version of this webinar will be available later. Once again, I request all the participants to turn off the audio and video for the smooth functioning of this webinar. Thank you. Over to you, Madam.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, let me thank Besant Women's College for this opportunity to share my experience. I won't call knowledge. I'll say share my experiences with all of y'all. Now, yes, the topic that was given to me was psychosocial interventions during this pandemic or during this outbreak, as it is called. I think our correspondent has already dealt with the certain issues, and most of us know what we are going to discuss today. I won't say that it's something new at all, but just to give you a very small introduction, when you call it as an outbreak, what does it mean to us? One thing that I'm going to take up is any outbreak brings about a change in the physical aspect, a change in the psychosocial aspect, a change in the economical aspect. And that we have seen in the present situation. And any of these changes bring about a lot of reactions which are emotional in all of us. And each one of us have a tendency to react differently. So as told by the principal and by the correspondent, COVID-19 has changed a lot of things. For students, it has changed the experience of being a student. For the employee, it has changed the experience of being an employee. And for us teachers, it has changed the experience of being a teacher. Okay, and I think the latest thing that has added to this change is the national education policy also that has come out. So all this, what does it do? It leads to a lot of uncertainty. Okay, and uncertainty about so many things. Now, if I take up teachers, uncertainty about job. As you all know, I had conducted my first webinar at another college, St. Agnes, and I had done a survey, and these are the stress issues that had come about their jobs. Especially it's the management faculty who have these issues, about online teaching itself, about students' reactions. Just day before yesterday, I had a call from one of the teachers who asked me, how do I know that my students are listening to me? About finances, about social events. We used to go out, we used to go to the canteen, we used to have a cup of tea together. Now, all these are, there's a blockage which has brought about the uncertainty, but we are not the only ones. If you take up our students, there are uncertainties and concerns about academics. They also are facing uncertainties about finances because many of our students are also fending for their own fees. Okay, concerns about their peers, concerns about social events much more than us. I have already shared this with many groups, and I'm sure some of you all must have heard it. My young boys or girls who keep saying, I can't go on a two-wheeler now because there is a policeman everywhere. My girls saying that I can't go and meet my friend, my mother doesn't allow me. So on the whole, it looks like an extended season of uncertainty, because this is how it is different from other disasters. As I think the correspondent rightly said, you know, other physical disasters, it is over. Tsunami, it is over. Then we move on. But this, we don't know when it's going to get over. So it's an extended period. So it will go on. Somebody just said maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months, maybe 18 months. We don't know. And from the surveys that I have done with the teachers and students, I'm just picking up, it's not y'all, but I'm just picking up. Teachers experience a lot of disturbed emotional reactions. Teachers feel that it has affected everyday life. Teachers feel that they are unable to concentrate like before. There are so many things that are reason for this. One is some of them have to prepare the classes at home. Their children are at home and not really comfortable with the teaching mode. You know, especially maybe the senior teachers who feel, you know, why should I learn this? Why should I do a PPT now? Why should I do a video now? What am I going to get? And from the students, we have many experiences of negative emotions, anger, fear, irritability, uncertainty, confused, interference in relationship, interference in studies. What happens to this year is a big question that is asked to me by many of my students. What is happening, ma'am? September, ma'am, nothing is going to happen. What is going to happen? I don't know whether I can cope with this situation. Okay. And bored, irritated and angry, and especially if some of y'all are teaching the second PUCs, there's a lot of issues with regard to the NEET and the JEE, etc. Where do I answer the exam? How do I answer? How do I know that the place is safe for me? My parents don't want to send me. You know, umpteen number of, you know, psychosocial aspects that are troubling us. With all this, what is the psychosocial state of our teachers? All this time they were settled. There was a predictable routine. Now it's upset. To a large extent, most of us were busy with our occupational and social life. I knew that I had to get out of my house at 8:30. I knew I could go for a wedding at 7 o'clock in the night. I was happy with my job. I really enjoyed my job. But suddenly there is this uncertainty. Suddenly there is this vacuum. There are demands of rebuilding my life. There are chances. I just joined. I know of a teacher who rang me up who told me that she just joined last year. And so the college has said from the bottom, we are just removing some of the faculties. How do I rebuild? Ma'am, I left the last year job. I left another job and came here because the prospects was good. What do I do? With all these stresses, teachers are supposed to maintain well because they have the social image. Okay, you have to keep up. You have to keep smiling. You have to keep doing. You have to keep going. On these are expectations from all the sides. And as I already mentioned, uncertainties of the mode of teaching. I know students are logging in, but are they really there? I don't know. What about the psychosocial aspects of our students? What's happening to them? They are stuck at home. They are bored. They are lonely. There's a change in their routine. Maybe I used to get up late, ma'am. I know I used to get up at 7:30, but by 8:30, I was in the bus stand. And now I can't do that. There's nothing to do. I'm not even being allowed to do. I am unable to do what I was doing earlier. And because I'm being stuck at home, I'm losing my privacy. I had a number of girls who told me I have my mother coming in every 1 hour or every 45 minutes, peeping over my shoulder and saying, are you listening to the class? Are you studying? I had freedom before. How long will this go on? And how is it shown? Anxiety, frustration, aggressiveness. And the biggest issue for the youngsters is, I can't meet my friends because peers are everybody now. And uncertainty about so many things which I've already mentioned. Yes, results are out. Now what? My PUC results are out. Now what? If I get a seat elsewhere, I saw somebody from Assam, somebody from Orissa in this group. If I get a seat in Delhi, can I go? Is it safe for me to go? I know my exams are supposed to be in September, but what happens after my September? I know people who have jobs are losing jobs. Well, will I get a job? This is a psychosocial state of our students. So, what are the uncertainties? Uncertainties in the present situation itself, in the behavior, in lifestyle, which requires a lot of adjustment. So I've divided it into two, mainly because I know that as teachers, we are always concerned about our students. So I wanted somewhere one person to go to the students. So teachers, uncertainties, adjustment to new way of life, to finances, to household duties. Because now earlier, I had a teacher who told me that, I used to get up, ma'am. Yes, I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I used to finish everything. I used to, put everything in the boxes, give one box to my husband, give one box to my children, and off they go. And after that, it was my time till 4 o'clock. But now it's not that. I don't need to get up at 5 o'clock, but it's a never-ending job because at home, I'm always worried what my 11-year-old fellow is doing. I'm worried what my 4-year-old, because even my help is not coming home. So I'm adjusting. Sometimes I go in and come out, or I work from home. Students, adjustment to not going out, adjustment to listening to classes without distraction. This was something very recent that was told to me by a boy, a college boy who told me, ma'am, I cannot have it in classes. So I said, weren't you listening in class, ma? Even classes had 45 minutes or 1 hour classes. But ma'am, that time it used to be fun, ma'am. I could throw paper balls at the girl in front of me. I could do some action here, this side to the fellow who's next to me. Now I have nobody. I'm sitting alone in front of my laptop. And it's boring, ma'am. And we are under constant, watch, because our parents and teachers are more in touch now. See the life changes that has happened in the present. Life changes because of conflicts and anxieties which are leading to uncertainty. A state of ongoing arousal in COVID news. I think our correspondent, sir, very rightly said, get to know about COVID. I would say, hold on, because sometimes this overloading of COVID is also harming us, and that makes us more restricted. So we have for teachers, we have anxieties about family members, about children, about income. I've already dealt it. Again, that same teacher, same lady who was telling me, I could make the morning thing and pass it on to the afternoon, and I used to only worry about the night dinner, ma'am. Now I have to worry about the afternoon lunch also because they are all at home. For students, a biggest issue, no food from outside. They are so used to eating in the canteen. Now they can't go like that before, nothing to do. New learning, not going to college, frustrating for many, many reasons. And believe me, all this has brought about a lot of conflicts. I used to come home from college only in the evening, and I used to meet my parents only in the evening, and I always had a chance to tell them, look, I am busy. My teachers have given me a lot of assignment. Go and sit inside my room. And my parents never used to bother me except call me for dinner. But now I can't say that. For most of the students, 24/7, they are with their parents. And that is causing a lot of problems. Causing a lot of problems between husband and wives. Because some of the husbands are at home. They are, they are made to work on shifts. So there's a lot of conflicts that are there, and people are wondering, we were so happy for 30 years. What happened now? Nothing has happened. Please believe me, nothing has happened. This is just an ongoing situation. Third, uncertainties, small discontentment, small everyday issues. For teachers, too many demands. Do this, look after this. You have to also look after the students' admission. You have to see whether the students find out if all the students are doing, find out their assignments. And most of the teachers have told me they don't have free time now. And whether you like it or not, students are not complying with the rules. I myself have had a young boy who has rung me up and told me, my classes are going on, ma'am. So I said, what are you doing now with me then if your classes are going on? Ma'am, don't worry, I put both on mute, ma'am. And I am here with you. Now, most of us know that this is happening. Plus at the out front, in the home front, helper is not there. House is untidy because children are at home. So small issues, but it's causing a lot of discontentment to me. For students, being stuck with adults more than before, can't give excuses of being busy, demanding family. Okay, you're at home, no, go bring 1/2 kg of sugar from the shop. Now you're free, no, go. No classes, no, go. Okay, so irritated family members, demanding teachers, have you listened, do this assignment, do this online test. Okay. All this is adding to small discontentment, but is leading to a lot of emotional issues. So what is it doing? Yes, the big word that you yourself gave me, uncertainty is all around us. It has heightened uncertainty over economy, employment, finances, relations. And why is it upsetting? Because we crave for security. That is why we are working. Why are we striving to build a house? Because of security. Why are we saving? Because of security. But now that security itself is gone. And there is a need for all of us to feel safe. There is a need for all of us to feel a sense of control. And it can definitely, when it's not there, it can leave us very, very powerless. Powerless over my own life. That is what so many people have rung me up and told me, I don't know what to do, ma'am. I'm feeling so useless now. My life was set, ma'am. I had planned that this December my son would get married. I had planned I would send my daughter to England for studies. I had planned that we would go for a holiday. Now everything is gone and I'm feeling useless. And that can be a very big emotional disruption for all of us. But here, as a mental health professional, I just want to tell you, this is what all of us are going on. All of us are going on. So I'm not telling you to demean yourself and put it down saying, oh, nothing is happening. No, we have to deal with it. What do we do? What do we do? The first thing for both teachers and parents, this I have not divided for teachers, parents, students, etc. Because all of us have to do this. Okay? Take care of ourselves physically, which is very, very important. Eat healthy food, especially my youngsters, eat healthy food. Have adequate sleep. Don't sleep too much. Maintain your health hygiene. Your mask is a must. Your hand washing is a must. I know we don't like it. Okay. And if you're telling me, you and I are telling me, I think sir talked about mental health issues, people with mental health issues. If you and I are telling me this hand wash is causing problem, just think of my persons who have come to me, my clients who have come to me who are having obsessions. Basically, they have obsessions, they have OCD. And we have been all this time trying to curtail them from washing hands. And now I'm telling them, please wash your hands. See, imagine their plight. Build up your immunity. And one main thing is build up your immunity with physical exercise. I know it's a very lethargic time. I have my youngsters saying, ma'am, what, ma'am? We can't go to the gym. Gym is closed. And I just gave this example the other day when I spoke in the AIR Bangalore. One of the things I told my young fellow, I asked him, where are you staying? He said, 3rd floor. I said, do me a favor, every day morning, get up and go thrice up and down. Don't go to the gym. Do this for me. That will increase your thing. Don't say, I can't go to the gym, so I'm going to sit quietly. Don't say, I can't go to the gym and you're telling me to do yoga. It is boring. No, you do what you want to do, but see that your body is getting the physical exercise. Yes, as sir said, know about COVID, but reject sensational news. Alli hige aitu, there it happened. Don't listen to all that. Just listen once in the morning, the news, find out what is the situation, take care of ourselves. That's all. And sir rightly said, have a routine. But I would add saying, when you have a routine of work and pleasure. Students, have a routine of your classes. Do something that you want to do. Again, I shared this in other platforms. I've had my young boys who have learned cooking during this Corona time. I've had my young girls who have learned to play violin during this time. Because I went back to them and said, tell me what you wanted to do when you were in the 4th standard. I loved to hear music. I wanted to sing, ma'am. Come on, now do it. Same thing with all of us teachers. Go back and think, there's something that I wanted to do. And all this time, we were continuously, all of us had one word in our mouth, no time. My God, I have no time. I don't know what to do. I have no time. Now, Corona, COVID-19 has given you all the time. Make the best use of it. Make the best use of it. Make use of the time. Sit and spend time with your family. Always used to say, we don't have time with the family. Now sit for 10 minutes with the family. Play something together. But if you're doing it on one day, it has to be every day. If you're learning violin at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because there is no classes at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, every day 2 o'clock, pick up your violin and start playing it. If you have something else at 5 o'clock in the evening, that is routine. I'm not talking of, oh, I do exercise, I study, I do that. No. If you're sleeping at 11 every day, sleep every day at 11. Don't say one day at 1 o'clock and one day at 11 o'clock and one day at 3 o'clock. No. And as sir has said, this is for my young friends, because I've had lots and lots of my young fellows. So I want your teachers to work on this. And that's why I've put these points here. I want teachers to work on it. Just find out what they're doing when you're bored. Because I've had many of my boys and girls say, ma'am, so boring, ma'am. I just had a drink, ma'am. Yeah, because you're boring, they had a drink, but then tomorrow drink will have them. So please find out. I know it's an extra job for y'all, but there's a lots and lots and lots of joy, associated with it. When you talk to them and when you come to know something that they have done, trying to dissuade them and giving them an alternative to do something. This is physical self. Maintain your routine. I've already spoken about it. Okay, waking time, bedtime, meal time, everything has to be the same. Okay, social connectedness. Please maintain social connectedness because it can have a lot of positive impact. Make the conscious shift to focus on activities you're still able to do. Read a book, I've heard so many teachers tell me so many times before, ma'am, Nandya, I wanted to read that article. I wanted to read that storybook. I have no time. Now you have time. Listen to a podcast. Try a new hobby. Cook a new recipe. Learn a new language. I don't know. I can't tell you, but you have to learn and look out for it. And for teachers and for all adults, give time to yourself. Nothing, but don't do this too much, but at least 15 minutes, sit by yourself and don't do anything. Tell your family members, it's okay. I've just come back from college at 4:30, leave 4:30 to 5 for me. And don't feel guilty about it. Oh, my son has not had his coffee. I've got to go and give my coffee. My husband has just come back. Maybe I have to rush and give him something. Let him wait also. It's okay. Let him go to the washroom, have a bath and all and come. By that time, your time will be done. Because this is very important for me, for as teachers. Just sit and relax. Don't feel guilty. Put your legs up on the sofa and relax. Think about your day. Feel nice about your day. Feel how good you were. Relish the day. Find out who all told you a compliment. Live in that compliment. Feel the positivity, which is very, very important for me. Yes, physically we are done. And I've connected it to emotionally. When you do all those positive and you give time for yourself, you become emotionally well. But I am going further to it. Stay connected. Connect with people. Connect with a lot of people, because now this is the best time. Just find out from somebody you know, some college student, another colleague of yours who have retired and you have not spoken to her for 6 months. Please call her and find out. Okay, connect yourself to people around you. Give and receive support, because it's very, very important. Maybe you're staying in an apartment, and what is happening in the present day is I'm staying in 301. I don't know who else is in 304. So go and find out. Maintain the social distance. You have your intercom. Find out. Is there anything you want? I'm going out now. Should I bring and drop it in the front of your house so that you can take it something? And this is the greatest support that you can give. And they'll feel fantastic. I've done this with my youngsters. Video chat with friends. Receive support. Care from others. Help to cope with their challenges, because that brings about a stability in us. Okay, spend time with your family and enjoy those moments, because again, once COVID goes, we may never be back again. Because as human beings, there's a very, 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 very typical of us. Say, oh my God, 6 months went, I did not earn. Oh my God, 6 months went. So I'm going to make up for the rest of the time in my 6 months. No. So you might not get it. So enjoy it now, which is very, very important for me. Yes, thought restructuring, which is very important. Change your whole perspective. Okay, it is bound. There are a lot of questions that will come to your mind. Lots of questions. Okay, because I've had so many questions that have been asked to me. What if I don't get a job? What if the management removes me? What has it been done today? No. Then don't think about it. Because see, it's a very typical thing in this uncertainties. Our mind will go to yesterday and it will go to tomorrow. Bring it to today. So counter the question by saying, now whether the management will take or not, is it under my control? No. Then why should I bother about it? Or if the money finances is less, is there anything I can do? If I can do, what are the strategies? Think, don't get worried. And most important, this is what I want you to do when you are by yourself. Be thankful what you have. Because every time all of us meet, we have so much of complaints. Oh, when will this corona go? What has happened to the world? Look, this has happened. No, nothing is going to help us by talking like that. So be happy. Oh my God, look, I'm able to spend time now. I'm able to try a new recipe. I'm able to try my hand in something else. I've learned, like for example, me, I would have never thought of all these things. I'm doing online consultation. I also miss my clinical approach, but I'm doing online consultation. I'm doing online training. And my first online training was it was really a scary, traumatic situation for me. I was wondering, what if that goes? What if it happens? Then one day it happens. Things went wrong, but I was able to manage, and that gave me the courage, saying I can do it. My first counseling therapeutic interventions, I was very anxious. I can't see the person. I can't touch the person. How can I make the person understand? But now I'm able to make. Because I have stopped thinking about what I can't do. I have started thinking about what I can do. And that's the positive note. Look for good things in you. Look for good things around you. That will make you feel nice. And I think one is because of the mask, people can't see us smile. Now you don't know whether people are smiling or not, whether they're happy or not. Smile through your eyes. Don't remove. Now just because I've told you to smile, please don't remove your mask and smile. No, I'm not asking you to do that. But if you're genuinely happy within you, your eyes can show that smile. Your eyes can show that happiness. And believe me, it radiates. Believe me, it radiates to the other people. I want that to happen. I dealt with physical health. I dealt with emotional health. Now I'm dealing with social health. Yes, and this is something that I've told. All of us crib about social isolation. They have only told us to maintain a physical distance. Have they told us not to communicate? Communicate with your family. Communicate. Set a time for that. I will call my sister up and ask her how it is. I'll call my old uncle and ask. Okay? Or I'll ventilate all these fears with somebody else and then feel relief. That is social contacts. Talk it out. Don't bottle it. Just because we are teachers, this is a social image that I spoke about right at the beginning. I am a teacher. How can I show that I'm weak? No. First, understand that we might have been teachers, but we are human beings. And if we are human beings, we'll have issues. And what you have to do is talk out the issue. Don't bottle it up. Spill it out to somebody. And as I've already mentioned, don't worry about what you can't do. Don't worry about why is government not bringing anti-corona virus vaccine. You and I can't do anything. There is somebody in the WHO going to do that. Why should I worry about that? Let me see what I can do to see it doesn't come into my house. That's enough. So let me do what I can't do. Let me not worry about what I can't do and what I can't control. Instead of that, let me see what I can do. And whatever ideas you have. See, now, for example, all this is not my own. It's not from any book. It is from every person who has rung me up, who has given me this treasure that I'm sharing with you. It is from my people who have called me. It's from people whom I have talked. And I'm feeling so happy today that I'm able to share with you. Similarly, share it with people. Learn to share. Every day there is something that you learn. So go home and share it. Go to somebody else's phone and share it with somebody. And uncertainties can cause a lot of psychological issues. Sorry, there's a spelling mistake there. It's psychological issues. It can cause less appetite. It can cause less sleep. It can bring about a lot of symptoms. Just yesterday, I had this young boy who is working, who has a lot of physical symptoms, somatic symptoms. It can bring about a lot of negative thoughts. I'm feeling very low, ma'am. It can bring about a lot of obsessive thoughts. Things are not going to be well. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to catch corona. What if I lose somebody? My father is somewhere alone. My son is going out. He's not listening. What happens? Yes, all of us are anxious about it. Believe me, even I am anxious. Because people from my house are also going out. I am also going out when it has to be. And I become anxious. But then, will I gain anything by being anxious? Or can I come back and do what I have to do? And that will add to the thoughts that life is not worth living with all this uncertainty. And that's why we have an increased number of suicides. But we'll realize one thing. This is new for everyone. This whole situation is new for everyone. And unfortunately, I think Madam Savitri just said, I have brought a manual for parents and teachers, but we don't have a manual on how to manage pandemic. Because it's new. Maybe after some time we will do it. Yes, we are planning something. We are planning to bring about a resilience model for people who are working in the pandemic. Yes, we are doing that from September. But it's also a trial that we are trying. Okay, and require self-care and understand that we need to maintain a healthy coping mechanisms, which is very, very important. So I have something here. I have my Saptapadi towards positivity. This is my take-home message for y'all. Okay, focus on controlling those things that are under your control and don't do things about what you can't control. Okay, challenge your need for certainty. Yes, we all want order. We all want predictability. We all want all those things. But unfortunately, maybe it is coming down. So challenge it. See what I can do. If I maintain a routine, there's a certain amount of certainty. I know that I have to get up at 5:30 and do my walking. I know that 8 o'clock I have to have a breakfast. So that uncertainty gives us a little bit of stableness. Learn to tolerate, even embrace the uncertainty of life. Especially for teachers, I want to tell this. You know, one thing that teachers you'll need to understand is, remember, don't feel insecure about our own teaching methodology. Maybe the online teaching is new, but teaching is not new for us. We have been teaching for 1 year. We have been teaching for 5 years. We have been teaching for 15 years. You are a master of teaching. Only the mode is different. So don't question yourself saying, am I teaching well? Am I doing well? Don't question yourself because you are doing. And remember, you are a teacher and you're a good teacher. And that is the way to embrace uncertainty. By being sure of yourself, I know my subject. I know what I am doing. So why should I worry about what the other person? Okay, look out for new ways of, teaching. Maybe we can look out for new ways. Instead of teaching, I don't know, I'm just talking. Maybe I'm a little ignorant. My economics teachers, instead of teaching about banking, give a small assignment for the students to ring up to a bank and get some information. Look out for that. Biology teachers. Okay. If you're teaching something about plants, tell them to go to their garden and bring out and then have a discussion. This is the way of embracing uncertainty. Focus on the present. Focus on today and now, not on yesterday and tomorrow. And look out and find reasons for being happy. Find reasons for being. I am so happy today Bezant has called me. I am so happy there are people who are listening to me. I am so happy Madam Savitri had a good word for me. Why should I think, oh, now I don't know why she said that. I don't know what she has in mind. No, let's not go to find unhappiness. Find reasons to be happy. Some friend of yours said in the morning, hey, I am so happy that you are my friend. Now don't start wondering, does she want anything today? Maybe that's why she's giving a compliment today. No, feel happy that she said, even if she wants to give you a compliment for something, let's see when it happens. And enjoy this moment of doing nothing because we may not have it again. I was just sharing the other day with somebody. I told them, I think, as soon, like after my retirement, I joined my clinic immediately. So I got involved in a lot of training programs. Okay. But this COVID has taught me to become a little domesticated. Honestly, I'm sharing with you. I'm not shy at all. I now know what are the things in my house. I now know how much we need to give, because I used to leave it to my helpers and go off. But now I'm in the kitchen half the time. You know, even when I'm on call, I keep going and seeing what they're doing. And I'm feeling very happy about that, because I'm not doing anything, but I'm still doing something. And I have lots of time to sit. I'm doing a lot of ebook reading. I am doing a lot of courses. I have joined courses. I go for a lot of webinars. I mean webinars, not conducting webinars. I listen to webinars and I'm enjoying it. And the last thing that I want all of y'all to do is, okay, if it's a little warm, if it's a little stuffy, what do? The picture will tell you. We open the windows. Now I want you to open the windows of your thoughts and feelings and share it with someone you trust. Don't keep it closed. I'm a teacher. I'm 45 years old. I'm 70 years old. How can I tell them I'm feeling scared? You're a human being. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're an executive, whether you're an CEO, whether you're anyone, whether you're a mental health professional, you are a human being. And I can also have a lot of fearful thoughts. I can also have a lot of anxious thoughts. And what do? Do I shut my thoughts to myself? Then I'm going to have problems. So can I share it with others? Yes. Either share it with your family, share it with your friends, or share it with a mental health professional. Share it. Just call them and say, look, I need to talk to you. And share it with them. And they might be able to help you, they might not be able to help you. But just as you open the window, the stuffiness goes out. When you open the windows of your mind and thoughts, the stuffiness in your head goes out. And that is my Saptapadi towards positivity. So if you want to combat uncertainty, follow this Saptapadi to combat uncertainty. And I'm 100% sure. And this is again not my own. It is not from any book. It is from my experiences. I've had experiences from my own learnings, from my learnings with my patients, with people whom I've met. And I'm just sharing that with you. So thank you. Thank you to Besant again for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences with you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ma'am. And good afternoon to you all. I'm Rupa from the Department of Sociology. Thank you, madam, for the informative and engaging session. We will now move on to the question and answer session. We have a few questions, ma'am. One goes this way. How will the students who do not have mobile phones study? Because there is a news that online classes will begin on the 1st of September. Some of the students may have internet issues too. So how will they be able to study, ma'am?
Yes, this is not only the concerns of the teachers. I've had these calls from students telling me that we don't have mobile phones, we don't have internet, is very poor and things like that. So, I mean, this is something that I would request the teachers to have small groups of students who would come together and see how we can work on it. So you can either find out if they have this technology, if they have the network, or if not, I think something that we can do, which we worked out in another college, is being able to send them the notes. Being able to send them the notes so that they are prepared. And when you are giving them the online courses, ask these students to be online with you, maybe on phones, okay, or be connected to each other so that more number of people can hear what you are hearing. I'm telling, I mean, that's the only thing that I can do. So here a little extra work for the teachers of, can we find out how many of our students really have this issue? I am sure there are. I am 100% sure there are. Okay, but the students will not tell it out in groups. They might come out to you in person. So can we call each student and find out? So we are starting the colleges. Do you have any difficulty? Do you have this? Do you have this? Then who is your friend? Can that person pass on something to you? So this sort of networking, if we can work, not technological networking, human networking can help us here.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. There's another question. Non-stop daily chores will not allow new learning, as you said, ma'am. So, I mean, what was dreamt as a child. So spending 24 hours with family makes it impossible for any me time, which is much needed. So kindly clarify.
Yes, and that is what I meant by saying relax. That's what I exactly meant. 24 hours with the family doesn't mean 24 hours in the family. Take time for yourself. Take time for do a little bit of physical exercise by yourself in the morning. Okay, do a little bit of afternoon, relax with music if you are you have a ear for the music. Okay, I've had another lady of 45 years old who told me that she loves dancing. So I said, afternoon, close the door of your room, put on music and dance. And she said, ma'am, after nearly 45 years, I am feeling so happy that I can do, because all this time, if I tell, people would laugh at me. So I'm not telling 24/7 with the family. I'm not saying routine means, what I meant by routine is just to bring about a certainty. But in that certainty, keep some time for yourself. Keep for some time to just lie down for half an hour. You need it. Keep for some time to do some walking in the garden. You need it. Now, all this comes in the routine. Keep some time for yourself to do some new hobby. Okay, I don't know what you all are good in, but this is something, a lot of introspection that you have to do at this time.
Okay, ma'am. Another question from a participant. Is online teaching beneficial for both teacher and student in the long run?
Okay. No, I am not able to actually answer this, whether it's beneficial, but my whole point is, I'm again going to stress this. Okay, why are we having a doubt about the online teaching? What is it that is scaring us about online teaching? From the teacher's part, I am going to stress on this, because this is something that I'm a little disturbed with teachers feeling that online teaching may not help because what we teach will not reach the students. One thing, remove that. Y'all are teachers and y'all are good teachers. Whether it is online, whether it is in person, whether it is in classroom, you're teaching. And teaching is to enable students to learn. It's a process. So I am sure, irrespective of your mode, you are a good teacher. It will innovative enough how to make them, learn. That's what I just thought. I didn't think of it till now. I just thought of it today. Biology teachers, instead of just like, I was sharing this with another thing. I was just telling the primary and high school teachers, science teachers, I said, don't ask them to draw a year from the textbook. Don't ask them to draw a year from the textbook. Okay, but tell them to go and sit in front of their mother and draw their mother's year. See, that's an innovation for me. That's an innovation. I don't know whether it will work, but I was just thinking about it. You're going to talk about some plant. Tell them to go and see what is there in their own garden. So they let them go out. Otherwise, my youngster friends don't go out. And now they're blaming you all for it. It is online classes. I'm supposed to sit in. Now give these type of things. Go take a green leaf. Go take a brown thing. I don't know. Go, if you're talking about centipedes and, millipedes or whatever it is, tell them to go and see. Now there is a lot of them in the garden. Tell them to go and see. Just let them go and observe how it moves. And then come back and discuss. Start the discussion and then teach. Your students will like it like this. Believe me, this can happen.
Okay, ma'am. There's another question. Online teaching is a boon to backbenchers as they are difficult to identify here. So,
again, I think these are all our, what can I say, prejudgments that we have. Okay. It can be a boon to everybody if you want. Okay, because see, for me, I am looking at it in this way. I'm looking at it, some of my boys who have rung me up. I'm especially talking about boys from the rural areas. Okay, they are telling me this online teaching has helped them to even earn money, because your classes are going on, they have their earphones on, and they're also working. I won't tell you which college, but one college in the morning in Mangalore, there's a boy who has started dropping milk packets to the houses. And he says it's only possible because it's online, man. And I'm making money for my thing. So I'm looking at it like that. I mean, that's the way I'm looking. My whole perspective is different. Now, children, students who don't want to learn will not learn even in your classes. But if you are, again, I'm going to stress on it. I don't know why we teachers should have doubt on our teaching. If you know that you're a good teacher, be sure all your students will listen to you. I mean, I strongly believe that. I very strongly believe that.
There's another question, ma'am. Online teaching may engage the students, but effectiveness of teaching cannot be measured. So kindly comment.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know, give them small tasks. Don't give them projects. Please don't give them projects. You know, don't give them computer projects, because then that is another added thing. Give them these small projects. It's okay. Let them go. Like I don't know. See, I am not a master of all subjects, but I was just looking at it because, you know, it so happened recently, some of my boys and girls, you know, recently I had one of these young boys who sent me a picture of one spider. And then he told me that sometime last week, I don't know if the biology teachers can add to it. Last week, I think there was some week of these, whatever these insects were. Okay, I'm not sure. So he's clicked a lovely picture of a spider. Okay, he's coming for something else to me. And he said, I wanted to just share with you because this is a beautiful picture. Because if I share it with anybody, they'll tell me I'm stupid. But I was so happy. I said, I've never seen a spider with so much of details in it, because, you know, we always look at spider from far, and I could see the tentacles and all those things. I said, see, this is something that you need to share it with, you know, all people, because this is the beauty of the spider. And that is what is making me think, you know, now biology teachers can definitely use some things like this. And I am sure, you know, you have to change your way of evaluation. You might tell me that I'm being grandiose. I'm not. I was a teacher and I am a teacher also. Because for me, I think that's very, very important that, you know, they are able to understand and come back to you. So I think that's the way of assessment that I want. You know, I'm not looking for online testing. I'm not looking for, you know, marks and all. I'm looking for, have they understood what I have taught? And bring in a group discussion. Yeah, you know, break up groups if you want. Because now the technology has all that. Because I'm going for classes, I'm learning it. At this age, I'm going for classes. And our teacher, you know, breaks us into 2 groups. Now that's possible, which I didn't know at the beginning. Now it's possible. So break them into groups. Let them talk. I'm sure if you give them 15 minutes, 10 minutes, they'll talk something else. It's okay. But at least that, you know, that discussion will make them come back together. They look forward for your class. Okay, then bring in that thing. So I think what we have to do is, you have to be quite innovative. You know, just like how as a trainer also you have to be innovative when you're doing online. Because I was just giving you the example of the training that we are going to conduct in September. It would have been so easy to conduct this training if I was in person. I would have done role plays and all. Now I'm going to break them into groups. I'm learning how to do it. You know, tell them to write, tell them to draw, you know, and I want to see how it will go. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure, but I hope it will be good. Yes.
Okay, ma'am, there's another question. How do we deal with slow learners in online mode of teaching?
Yes. Yes. This, if you realize, unfortunately, is not being dealt with. You're perfectly right. Whoever this is, I I appreciate your sensitiveness to this. I really appreciate your sensitiveness. Now, what I would ask you is, for slow learners, make a separate group, because definitely they need a little more time. I know it's a burden again on you. Okay, so can we do something else? Can we cut down the materials and send it to them? Can we ask them to read? Just cut down the material. If it's a 5-page material, just give them a 2-page material. Send it through the phone if they have, send it through your email, send it through something, send it through post if you want. I don't know how you're going to do, depending upon their availability. And then maybe we'll have to spend a little bit different time. Maybe we can have a conference call with only these children. You know, I definitely, and I really appreciate this person who has brought this out, because I am very much bothered about the slow learners, because they are going to get lost. You know, they'll sit very, 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 very methodically and beautifully in front of the, you know, your laptop or the mobile, but they will not be able to understand. So don't include them in this, or include them before that. You give them this and then work with them. You know, yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And the last question, COVID has brought a lot of opportunities for human engagements. It's up to a person how we need to use this one-time opportunity. So what are your views on this, madam?
Absolutely, that's what I told you. That's exactly what I told you. Because I've heard from almost everyone, one common phrase was, we don't have time. Ask children, they don't have time. Ask adolescents, they don't have time. Ask women, they don't have time. Ask men, they don't have time. And now COVID has given us all the time. You're not supposed to do like before. Children have lots of time. We have lots of time. So start engaging yourself. The first step for me for this question was, sit back and think, how much time do I have? Make a note of it. Then sit back and think, what do I do with this time? I have 2 hours now in a day. Okay, what can I do in this 2 hours in a day? What all I want to do? Now, maybe I would ask you that I've given you all these in 3 forms, divided into 3 forms. Physically, what can I do? Can I use 40 minutes for exercise? Okay, fine, I'll do that. Can I use 20 minutes for social contacts? I'll give you a very simple example. I had this one student who rang me up and said, I'm feeling bored, ma'am. And then when I started talking to him, I found out that he was staying in a joint family. And now he has come to a nuclear family to the town. So I just asked him a question, who all were there in the joint family? And he told me, I had my uncle, I had my grandparent. So I said, tell me your favorite person in the old house. He said, my chikkappa. In Kannada, it means uncle, maternal uncle. Paternal uncle. Okay. So I said, how long have you spoken to him? He said, maybe more than 6 months. So I said, can you call him up and talk to him today? What should I talk? I'm not talking. I said, no, just call him up and tell him, hi, I wanted to talk to you from so long, but I didn't find time. Now I just want to ask you, how are you? Just ask that, I said. Okay. I just told him, start like that. 2 days later, he rang me up, ma'am, thank you so much. My uncle was so happy to talk to me. And now we decided we will talk every week. Now I see, this is, you know, you are doing it psychologically and socially. You're connecting yourself. Okay. Give some time for yourself. Give some time to yourself. Sit night, especially, you know, maybe this is not a sleep time I'm talking. Before your sleep, sit for about 10 minutes. Go through the whole day and say what all happened nice. Okay, when I was standing for the auto, somebody gave me a lift. Very nice. Actually, I didn't take it. That's another point, but gave me a lift. Okay, and as I went inside the thing, somebody, like for example, for Rupa and Madam, Savitri, the session, I think I'm getting some good remarks saying that it was a good session. The credit goes to you all. Feel nice about it. So look out for what are the things that happen and feel nice. Now, this is what I want you to do when you have time. When you have time, sit and do this. Divide what you can do physically, divide what you can do psychologically, divide what you can do socially, and start doing that. And I want to add here, don't stop it if the vaccine comes. Continue it. That's the biggest fear that we all have. You know, don't stop it, continue, because it's enriching your life. And I think that life has to be enriched. You know, we are doing so many things now that we have never done. We are walking, we are managing things with the least bit of amount of things that we want. We are not using everything. Earlier, I had to go to the mall to bring everything. Now I don't need to go to the mall. I'm managing with a small shop near my house. So why not continue that? Why am I waiting to go to the mall? Okay. I had to go to the canteen. Can I start taking home food for at least and twice a week keep for canteen? So, you know, start engaging in things and continuing it even in the, you know, post-COVID time. Because that's something that is very, very important. And even your teaching modes, continue it in the post-COVID time, because I think it's going to give you a lot and lots of, you know, satisfaction. So I end. Yes, I think it's the last. Thank you once again, Rupa. Thank you to all. It was a good experience. See, this is what is my learning. I'm feeling very happy because you all have asked me so many questions on online, which has never been asked all this time. And it has enriched my knowledge. And I'm feeling happy today. I am a little better on online than I was at 11 o'clock. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for clarifying all the doubts. It's now time to express my gratitude. It's my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of Women's Cell, the Department of Sociology, and all from Besant Women's College. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Ramila Shekhar, our esteemed resource person of today's webinar, for sharing your founts of experience and knowledge with us. This session will go down as a phenomenal opportunity to help us face the uncertainty with fortitude and faith in the advent of a better tomorrow. My heartfelt gratitude to Shri K. Devanand Pai, Secretary of WNES and Correspondent of Besant Women's College, for the great support for any given activity. My sincere thanks to Shri Ganesh Krishna Bhatt, Correspondent of Besant PU College, for all the encouragement. My sincere gratitude to our principal, Dr. Satish Kumar Shetty, for the invaluable guidance and support given to us. Thank you, sir. My heartfelt thanks to the IQAC coordinator, Professor Syed Kader, and NAC coordinator, Dr. Praveen Kumar Kesi, for all the encouragement. Thank you, sirs. I thank Professor Shirley Rani, former HOD of Sociology, for all the encouragement and guidance given to me. I must thank Professor Savitri Rao in organizing this event. I'm grateful to all my colleagues for the support and best wishes bestowed on us. Let me thank Mr. Ritesh for the exceptional technical support extended to us. He has been working round the clock to make all our webinars a success. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Ravindra Murthy, for all the help, sir. A sincere appreciation to all our participants from all over India for the overwhelming response and participation. Thank you all. Before we call it a day, let's imbibe the suggestions of our resource person, Dr. Ramila Shekhar, who always keeps herself abreast with social activities. I'm sure this session will go a long way in making us confident to take the world in a stride. Thank you so much.